Hi, my name is Jennifer Sarteau, and this is my home, and this is my story. I grew up in a Catholic home. We had 9 people in our family. I grew up in South Minneapolis. My parents were very loving, but they both lost a parent at the age of 7. So I grew up knowing and seeing their pain. I went to Catholic schools for 11 years, and I still have a lot of those friends and people in my life. So there's so much good in my childhood. I had a little brother who was going through some depression, and it wasn't obvious depression, but he had a breakup with a girlfriend and he committed suicide. And I was 20 and home when he did it. And my dad and I tried to save him. And that started a big search for the meaning of life and for who God was and where he was in this incident. It affected every aspect of my life. It made a difference in the way I look at hurting people, and I'm very thankful for that. I know that God would never have made this happen in my life, but as Romans 8:28 says, God brings everything together for good for those who love him. As hard as it is, still to this day, I'm grateful just that I totally undeservingly found God, only by the grace and mercy of his love. I shortly moved to Chicago after my brother died and started a completely new life. I was going to finish school and get my life together, and there was a lot of lingering sadness, and I sought counseling at Catholic Charities. It was the first of thousands of LOS groups since then, and LOS stands for Loving Outreach for Suicide Survivors. And I know that those people prayed for me and started a journey of healing that was just amazing. I'm forever grateful for that group. I remember singing every Sunday that song, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. That song reminded me of the fact that that was the day that the Lord had made, and I didn't need to look back anymore. And I realized that God had brought me to that place, wanting me to know him and to look more deeply into who he was and make him the center of my life. So it was just the beginning of a journey, because then I met my husband, who has loved me unconditionally, incomparably with anyone else, and it's just an amazing love, and I'm so thankful for him. And we moved to France and had 8 country moves between then and now, starting over everything from new cars, new banks, new friends. So there were a lot of joys, a lot of lonely times. And in that loneliness, I kept searching. The Lord kept bringing me amazing pastors and church people and neighbors. And our 2 children were born, one in Switzerland, Clementine, and Cyprian in France. And those were like the most amazing miracles of my whole life. I couldn't believe that I got to experience having children, and our children today are 27 and 26, and we have a great relationship. I sometimes am in awe of how blessed I've been in our ministries in Africa, Romania, India, missionaries, hospices, and I just can't believe that he uses me and has given me an ability to witness to all kinds of people. Through his love, I want people to know the love of Jesus and how he changes your heart, changes you from the inside out, and completes you, and gives you an eternal purpose for each day, each moment. Sometimes I stop and I think about the past pains, and they do affect my life, mistakes I've made or challenges our family has been through, but I trust that God is going to bring everything together for good, and I try to live in his presence daily, minute to minute, sometimes step by step. I go back to him. We sold our family home after we got back from 13 years in Europe, had a big house in Kenwood, and sold that and downsized. And here we are in this new place in the edge of Bloomington and live by Centennial Lakes, and God has brought us this variety of people, this diversity outside our door. So when we walk around Centennial Lake, we talk to various people because we have a dog, and people want to pet him and talk to him and tell us how cute he is. And it's just been amazing how we can relate to their story. Going forward, Avery and I are praying about what's next, but he's brought us this little nugget of ministry just outside our door, which is so fun and a blessing. And so I'm trying to learn how to witness to people who are Hindu and Muslim in a very graceful way, and in a way where they can hear who Jesus is versus who the world says Christians are, because I think they've sometimes get the wrong message. I think the main thing I've learned through Christ has been that we live with both suffering and joy at the same time. For so many years, I was searching for happiness in the world and happiness in circumstances and happiness in trying to mold our family life. But now I see that God has brought me to a place where I know that I live with both suffering and joy, the kind of joy and suffering that makes me whole, and I don't search only for the happiness. So the reason I shared my story is because I loved hearing the stories that we've heard so far. I think when we're at church, it's such a short time, so it's great to get to know people, who they are and how they came to know Christ. Christ is the center of my life, and I love to share that with people. Come on and share your story, old and young.